Bossa, come here. Man, this place is looking a mess.
Boss, you holding the plans upside down.
Don't talk back. Lamba, you fire.
Unfair dismissal. Let Clientele Legal tackle your labour issues for you. We have tough, professional lawyers standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. SMS DEFEND to 32281 and we'll call you back. SMS now.
SABC News celebrates Women's Month.
Weekly dose of art and entertainment news. Tune into Trends every Saturday from 12 to 1.
Well, today we discuss the general practitioner or GP.
So the quality of the doctors coming through our medical schools is excellent.
Your GP is your family doctor. Your GP is your first point of care.
Who determines how much a consultation fee should be?
We set up networks of general practitioners, and one of the conditions of the network was to agree to charge a certain fee.
Specialists are specialists. We can't take away their role. We can't take away what they do for each patient in their disease entity.
Our specialist colleagues as well don't appreciate patients coming straight off the street, as it were, to see them. They're highly trained.
For health tips that will help you to adopt healthy living, catch Health Talk every Saturday from 9 to 10.
Welcome back. After the report of Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane hit the public domain last week, expressing how the South African Police Service failed to provide security protection to the two KZN whistleblowers, Mary de Haas from Violence Monitor says that the report has confirmed what has been known for almost a year. She says that based on the security assessments undertaken by the state agency in December last year, Thabiso Zulu and Stuta should have gotten protection, as it was found that their lives are in grave danger. Thabiso Zulu is one of the whistleblowers, joins us now from our Durban studios, and Mary de Haas joins us via Skype. And the Public Protector's Office, I must just indicate from the onset, we invited them and they said she's not available today for this interview. And the Minister of Police, Minister Mary de Cele's office, said he is engaging his legal team with the intention of taking the Public Protector's report on review. So now that we've got that out of the way, let me just greet our guests this morning. Thabiso and Mary, thanks so much for speaking to us this morning about this very important issue.
Good morning.
You are welcome.
Thabiso, let me start with you, and let's just get straight into it. When did you receive the Public Protector's report?
I received it last Friday? The Friday, the previous Friday than the one that has just passed. I think it was on the 10th.
And this, of course, relates to whistleblowing activity regarding the Umzimkhulu municipality. And this is where, of course, the Makatqa story also played out. And we know Sindiso Makatqa was obviously killed as a result of trying to expose malfeasance there. So in a nutshell, if you could just give us a brief background.
Sakina, as you will know, we were given documents by the late Sindiso Makatqa, which were meant to prove that there have been looting at Umzimkhulu local municipality. Then we acted on the information that he gave us. We later gave it to the suspended Commissioner of SARS, Commissioner Tom Moyane, General Ntlemeza, and many others. And he did that in Makatqa gave us in 2016, I think it was in September. Then he was shot in July. Then he died, as you know, in September of 2017. So all the suffering and all the pain that we've been going through is as a result of us speaking out at his funeral, going to the Moerane Commission, but also participating in the Public Protector's initiated investigation around Umzimkhulu Memorial Hall.
So at this stage, you are obviously in fear for your life, which is why you actually approached the Public Protector to take this forward.
That's correct. I'm not only in fear of my own life, but also in fear of fearing for the life of my other comrade, Les Stuta. There have been so many things that have been happening in our lives. We now survive through the help of friends who are always assisting us, paying for the bodyguards to protect us from time to time. But it's not. It's a very sad situation that we are finding ourselves in, and we feel that our country has betrayed us, it has let us down. We are very hurt.
Mary de Haas, if I can just bring you in here, and just looking through the Public Protector's report, and she is very clear and has some real harsh criticism for the police in this regard. Just for the benefit of perhaps our viewers, she says in this report, as part of the recommendations, that the President must take urgent and appropriate steps to, one, reprimand the Minister of Police, Mr. Mary de Haas, for his lapse in judgment regarding the failure of the SAPS to provide the two whistleblowers with security protection after the determination was made that they required it. And it goes on in that vein. And then also to ensure that an incident of this nature does not recur, and that ministers take heed of the warnings of this nature to avoid catastrophic results that may occur due to a lack of insight and non-action. So, Mary, you say we've known this and for almost a year now. So do tell me what you made of that report, and also the fact that the police still haven't acted on this when they were given 7 days to make sure that Mr. Stuta and Mr. Zulu are provided protection.
Well, I wrote myself to the police management, copied to the minister, and this was last November, and the Morani Commission, because don't forget that the Premier also has some culpability here. He's the one who called the Morani Commission and expected people to go forward with evidence, and the fact that this was all aired at the Morani Commission with considerable publicity and fingers pointed at members of the provincial at politicians themselves, increased the risk for the that these two men are facing, plus other anti-corruption initiatives that Thabiso Zulu has taken. So we the police have known about this. There was the report was last December. Now, the extraordinary thing about this, I don't know what to make of the conduct of the Minister of Police. And as I said, I think fingers must also be pointed at the Premier for not urging protection for these two men, because he's the one who exposed them to further public danger through the Morani Commission. Now, I don't know whether, I mean, the irony is that the finding was done by the police themselves that these two men were under threat, and that was last December, and no steps have been taken. And don't forget that the police have a constitutional mandate to stop crime happening and to protect people. There's also a known track record of people, whistleblowers, people who've tried to expose corruption, having been killed. So it makes absolutely no sense to me that there has been no steps have been taken to protect these two men. I mean, it's not as if, I mean, if you look at politicians, they're surrounded by bodyguards. It must cost the earth for taxpayers to make sure they're protected. It's a drop in the ocean to make sure there's protection for these two men. Now, the other question I ask is whether there is, I mean, Cele himself is a representative of the ANC, which acts as a collective in government. And I don't know whether there's pressure from any other politicians, because clearly when you expose the corruption on the level of, for example, in Mzimkhulu, it was in the region 37 million rand, and other corruption, you make yourself unpopular. So it sends a very strong message out that it sends a very strong message out that the government doesn't care about people who expose corruption. So does that mean that they approve of corruption? Because they should be happy. Corruption's killing this country, so they should be happy that people are exposing it, and they should be protecting those people.
Mary de Haas and Thabiso Zulu, stay right there. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we continue this conversation.